It's important to know that our physical perception of reality is actually limited to a narrow band of electromagnetic radiation referred to as the visible light spectrum, cosmic family. The visible light spectrum is only a minuscule fraction of the entire electromagnetic spectrum as a whole. The human eye has a very limited resolution where actually one glance only resolving about 5 to 15 megapixels. Our eyes can only detect light within a specific range of wavelengths, and it's typically between 380 to 720 nanometers, which the human brain then perceives as colors. Now, what a nanometer is a length in the metric system equal to 1/1,000,000th of a meter. All right, this means it's extremely small. Basically, a nanometer is used to measure distances between atoms. So to put it in perspective, a strand of human hair would basically be about 75,000 nanometers in width. As far as reality goes, we don't see anything, okay? There's so many beings around us that we can't see. The human eye can only see 0.035% of physical reality. This visible light range is a very minute fraction compared to the entire electrical magnetic spectrum as a whole, all right, which includes radio waves, microwaves, infrared radiation, ultraviolet radiation, X-rays, as well as gamma rays. Now, according to Albert Einstein's theory of relativity, we actually experience what's called 3 spatial dimensions, which are length, width, and height. But quantum physics, like the string theory, suggests the possibility of multiple dimensions, actually potentially 10 or even more, with the extra 6 dimensions being curled up or so small they're actually considered undetectable. Now, the extra dimensions might be so small or exist in a different way as to where they actually don't affect our everyday experiences or interactions, all right? There's also something called the M theory, which also proposes 10 or 11 dimensions. Now, with all that being said, there's lots of interdimensional beings that are consistently around us that we don't have the ability of actually physically seeing. Now, quantum physics tells us that we actually only see 0.035% of the light photon spectrum, but with all the toxic chemicals like fluoride, toxic metals such as lead, cadmium, mercury, graphene oxide, atrazine, glyphosate, I'm pretty sure that we actually see less than 0.35%. Now, when we get on the topic of fourth dimensional beings or UFOs or various extraterrestrial biological entities, a lot of these entities actually operate on different light spectrums, which means that somebody next to you may not have the ability of seeing something that you can physically see. Some individuals have more access to the light photon spectrum than others. This is also why sometimes you can actually take a photo and a lens will capture something that your physical eyes couldn't see. Now, one of the most beautiful tools that you actually have that allows you the ability to see through dimensions is your pineal gland, all right? It's composed of piezoelectric crystals called magnetites, dendrites, and calcites. But typically, your pineal gland is affected by malevolent frequencies and adverse toxic chemicals. This is why I heavily promote the use of things like ginkgo biloba, as well as lion's mane mushroom and things like haritaki. I promote consumption of things like ormus, colloidal gold, colloidal silver. These things are all essential for decalcifying as well as activating the pineal gland. Macular degeneration is the degradation of your eyes over a period of time, okay? Herbs like ginkgo biloba are great for macular degeneration, all right? Hemorrhoidal honey is also phenomenal for macular degeneration and improving your optimal vision. The age of Aquarius is a very controversial subject, okay? Because during this great separation, people are literally going to see completely different worlds. This is one of the main reasons they increase technology regarding artificial intelligence and computer-generated imagery. Reason being is because the age of Aquarius is going to pour in a lot of things that individuals consider mythical, all right? People are going to see more extraterrestrial biological entities. They're going to see more UFOs or UAPs. These things are going to become visible. This is why the deletes also created things like Bluebeam. For millennia, they have been trying their best to keep us from actually seeing and knowing the truth. This is one of the main reasons why the sky is heavily blanketed with chemtrails. Chemtrails actually contain aluminum. Aluminum refracts light, all right? More light in the atmosphere actually prevents us from seeing what's actually there. They're bending light photon particles. The same holographic light spectrum technology that the Alpha Draconians use to actually bend light photons to hide their draconian form is actually what they use to manipulate the atmosphere so we can't see what the realm is actually composed of. There's beings like fairies, pixies, dragons, unicorn. All of these beings that you can't see with the naked eye actually do physically exist on different wavelengths and light spectrums. Our physical eyes can only facilitate 350 to 700 nanometers, which is very, very minute, very, very small. This is why when you utilize certain psychedelics or entheogens such as magic mushrooms and things that activate dimethyltryptamine, you have the ability of actually seeing beings, all right? And sometimes they'll tell you you're hallucinating, but that's false, all right? The term hallucinogen was coined by an individual by the name of Thomas Brown, all right? And that was just to elude the fact that your mind was creating visual constructs from the subconscious cerebellum portion of the brain, when in fact that's false, all right? When you utilize certain psychedelics or entheogens, you're actually ascertaining more access to the light photon spectrum, and now you can see certain interdimensional beings that hide in the crevices or pockets of reality. Sun gazing and getting out in nature is another great way to amplify your access to the light photon spectrum. When you're consistently around blue light radiation or LED lights, it has an adverse effect on your pineal gland. These are all things they don't want us to know. As an electromagnetic being, we all have the ability to ascertain more access to the electromagnetic spectrum. This is done by ensuring that our pineal gland is functioning at optimal level. The pineal gland is the cosmic gateway and brain's antenna to higher dimensional realms. And because melanin is a quantum computer and actually absorbs all forms of light, this means you have access to all information in the universe.